Up parts of western Kentucky are underwater and more severe weather is possible tomorrow.
Dedicated to eastern and southern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News at 11.
Good evening, I'm Steve Hensley. In western Kentucky, crews are working around the clock after storms caused widespread flooding, prompting Governor Beshear to declare a state of emergency. There have been no reports of fatalities or anyone missing. Now, people are bracing for more rounds of potentially severe weather tomorrow. First Alert meteorologist Evan Hatter has more on what to expect. Evan.
Well, that's right, Steve. We continue to watch the possibility for strong to severe thunderstorms as we head through the day tomorrow. Now, the timing's still a little variable, leaning toward late morning into the afternoon. At this point, heavy rain and damaging winds are the main threats as we head through tomorrow. You see much of the region in a level 2 slight risk for severe weather. Damaging winds, heavy rain, the main threats. Very small chance for large hail or an isolated tornado. Again, this is for tomorrow. Anyone watching out there? No issues tonight. It's just ground clutter on Pinpoint Doppler. No big issues. So your forecast first as we head through the rest of the evening into tomorrow. Grab the jacket, grab the coat, or at least the rain gear. You're going to need it. Temperatures middle and upper 60s to start the day as we watch for the possibility of strong to severe storms a little bit later on. Now, Steve, I'll have the breakdown of when those storms could arrive and exactly in your location here in just a few minutes. Steve?
All right, Evan, thank you. Well, let's take a look at what people in Mayfield are dealing with today. Out in western Kentucky, many roads are flooded there tonight with people unable to leave their homes. We are still getting reports about the extent of the damage. And of course, Mayfield was devastated by a tornado back in December of 2021. The city's mayor is encouraging people to stay strong.
I'm so proud of the people that live here, but this is a second blow from nature that nobody has any control over. So just hang in there, hang in there. We will see and assess this damage once the floodwaters go down.
Mayor Onan says she knows the people of Mayfield will pull through this just like they've done before. These devastating floods come nearly 1 year after rains brought tragedy to this side of the state. Eastern Kentuckians know the pain all too well, but this time around they're wanting to give back the same way others did. Julia Sandor spoke to one Appalachian organization that is reaching out to lend a helping hand.
Within the past 2 years, Western Kentucky has felt the pain that comes with a natural disaster. Tornadoes tore through their communities in 2021. Now their community was hurt in a way that's become far too common for the state. Nearly 1 year ago, Eastern Kentucky felt that same wave of pain.
It is still something that's really hard to even kind of like wrap your brain around, like how traumatic it really was.
Appalshop is just one of the many organizations that are still recovering from the Eastern Kentucky floods. But they say nearly 1 year later, they're able to lend a helping hand.
Being able to offer our perspective on what happens the days after, the months after. So what to look for when FEMA reaches out, things that you should be anticipating. So it's that kind of advice that we unfortunately have firsthand knowledge in order to offer people in similar positions.
They're asking people to reach out to them and share the information of the mutual aid groups that are on the ground now in Western Kentucky.
Especially for Mayfield specifically, having already gone through an extreme weather event and knowing that recovery doesn't take just a couple of weeks or a couple of months. It is a long process.
But after months of cleaning up mud and building new foundations, they say this is one of the few silver linings.
We've been through this. We know how scary it is. We know how traumatic it can be. Even a year later when the rains come, you have that feeling, but we're going through it together.
Julia Sandor, WKYT.
You can reach out to Appalshop by sending them an email or visiting their website. A Middlesboro man was arrested after police say he tried to break into a home on Monday. 24-year-old Billy Vanover was arrested and charged with wanton endangerment and attempted burglary. People in the home said Vanover threatened to shoot up the house before trying to break in the home. There were 5 people inside, including 2 children. Vanover is being held on a $50,000 cash bond. A Southern Kentucky man is facing charges following a traffic stop. London police stopped an ATV on South Laurel Road near the job shop on July 6th. In addition to illegally driving the ATV on a public road, officers say 37-year-old Dustin Ray Holland of London was lethargic. When they searched him, they found 5 buprenorphine pills in his pocket. Holland was arrested for DUI and other charges and was taken to the Laurel County Correctional Center. A man who is in the hospital after allegedly assaulting a police officer is set to face attempted murder charges once he's released. That's according to the Logan County Sheriff. Investigators in West Virginia say Barry Vaughn and Marlena Atkins were found sitting in a parked car with stolen plates outside a business yesterday. When officers approached the car, investigators say Vaughn accelerated into the officer. That's when officers fired shots at the car. Atkins was charged with malicious assault on a police officer, among other charges. Vaughn will be charged once he's released from the hospital. The governor's race for November is officially set. Today, Attorney General Daniel Cameron announced Senator Robbie Mills as his running mate. And yesterday, Lieutenant Governor Jacqueline Coleman filed for re-election to run again with Governor Andy Beshear. This election is one that's getting national attention. Grayson Passmore has your campaign 2023 coverage tonight.
State Senator Robbie Mills.
By choosing a state senator, Cameron took a relatively predictable and safe route.
Dr. Voss says Cameron didn't go for a surprise candidacy here.
Cameron has wanted this race to be about national hot button issues, about the cultural changes that have been happening in the 21st century that aren't terribly popular with a lot of Kentucky voters. So he's stressed the positions that Mills has taken in the past on legislation that involved cultural conservatism.
Mills is well known for his legislation to ban transgender girls and women from playing on sports teams that align with their gender identity, which passed in 2022. This year, he backed a bill that bans TikTok from state devices and a bill that made hazing a felony. And most recently, Mills defended his vote for Senate Bill 150, which bans gender-affirming health care for transgender youth, among other issues.
Where Kentuckians tend to be conservative, Mills helps punctuate that, helps reinforce it. His cultural conservative credentials allow Cameron to reinforce the conservative message that they've tried to make the campaign about.
Mills also has the ties to Western Kentucky that Cameron lacks. But Dr. Voss says Beshear's campaign will highlight Mills' role in a controversial teacher pension bill.
One of the main points of attack on Governor Matt Bevin was his role in trying to adjust teacher pensions, pensions for teachers. So by having Mills, somebody who was part of Bevin's effort on pensions, joined to the Republican ticket, it allows Beshear essentially to relitigate the 2019 campaign, which he won.
Dr. Voss says while the Republican campaign will primarily focus on those national hot-button issues, Governor Beshear and Lieutenant Governor Coleman will take the opposite approach and focus on in-state issues and highlight the Beshear administration's responses to natural disasters and the COVID pandemic. Well, Cameron's choice of Mills puts a former UK basketball player in an odd spot. The new Cameron Mills ticket got a quick and fun reaction from Cameron Mills, who walked on and became a standout Wildcat in the 1990s. He was a big part of the 1998 championship team. Mills, the former ball player, called it fun, but told the Herald leader he jokingly texted his family saying, quote, "This is going to be a very irritating year for me." Mills says he will not be endorsing either candidate in the election. These days, Mills works in healthcare, runs a Christian ministry, and is part of UK pregame radio shows. The UPS and Teamsters have less than 2 weeks to finalize an agreement on a new labor contract, with the largest holdup being related to part-time working wages. UPS workers plan to strike on August 1st if an agreement is not reached. And this morning, a practice picket was held at UPS in Hazard as local employees prepare to take a stand if necessary.
I've been here long enough, I make decent money, but these guys starting out, they're just having a hard time. And I mean, I don't get hours that I'd like to have. And then for the job we do, it's difficult.
UPS and Teamsters have until July 31st to come to a new agreement. If not, this will be the largest single employer strike in U.S. history. Alice Lloyd College in Knott County is making renovations and additions ahead of the upcoming school year. Crews are working to repair retaining walls and bridges along with a new bell tower chapel. President Jim Stepp says they will get as many renovations done as possible before the school year, but it could continue as they complete everything.
We'll be continuing projects. Our goal here, ultimately, we want to provide a quality, character-based education for students. We want to give them that opportunity here. And along with that, we want to have the best of facilities.
Classes on campus will begin for students on August 15th. One group in Kentucky is cycling to honor first responders. Members of the Kentucky Brotherhood began their journey earlier this morning. The group will travel more than 300 miles, honoring their fallen brothers and sisters along the way. Board member Josh Lyle says this is important to a lot of riders as they honor friends and family.
A large portion of our riders do come from this region of the state, so there's a lot more personal connection this year. And some of that has been exemplified in the support that we've gotten from the communities. They know a lot of the riders personally, so when they call and ask, is there a place that can host a group this big, a lot of these communities are really going out of their way to accommodate us.
The group ended their day in London. They will make several other stops in the mountains before ending in Pikeville on Saturday. American Electric Power donated a bucket truck to Hazard Community and Technical College. HCTC expanded its lineman training program to a second campus and needed an additional bucket truck for training. Their original truck was also a donation from AEP, but this one is even bigger. Officials say the new truck is just one of the ways AEP helped improve its program.
They've helped us with our lineman program in so many ways, from establishing a scholarship for students to initial supplies, equipment, and other trucks that we needed when we were first getting started with our program many years ago.
HCTC says that partnership they have with AEP is helpful to both of them. AEP is able to see what students know before they even enter the workforce, and HCTC is able to provide students with real-world experience in the lineman field. Coming up on Mountain News at 11, officials with a local animal shelter ask for help as overcrowding could force them to euthanize animals.
And continuing to watch the potential for strong to severe thunderstorms tomorrow. The breakdown on our First Alert Weather Day ahead.